To follow on from last week's video, I said I'd have all that welded in, didn't I? Which I have. But I've also been making more bits. So what we've got is these triangulation pieces. So that was the original. And I showed you on the car, but it had all been welded up badly and so on. So I've managed to unpick all that, take the nasty welding off it, and then I made a new one. So there's the new one. And that's got the little swages in it and so on. And that's all good to go. I've made one for the other side of the car as well, so doubled up because we're going to have to do it on the other side. So that's that. So should we have a look on the car, what's been happening? So we go through next door and have a look. That was on there a bit like that. I'll take these clamps off, you can't see. So that was on there like that, and that closes it in like that, you see. So that's what it was. Now, unpicked all this lot and took it off. And then that one, does that, you see. So that'll sort it all out, cover it up, deal with it again. Well, I say cover it up. We're not going to cover it up, we're going to replace all that inside there, aren't we? And probably make new A-posts. But you see, that's how that's going to work. So that's perfect, isn't it? That's good to go. So pleased with that. Now, previously I've made that lower piece. So remember, that'll be the lower piece there. That's how that will go. And then that'll allow us to put the trunking in there. So we have this trunking goes in there that goes up to the air vent at the front of the car. So that lot will go on there. And obviously this lot will go on there. So you can see, but this was missing off the car, if you remember, and that was missing off the car. So what they'd done in the past, to repair this area, that's why that had that welding there. So that had gone on there, and they'd welded along this edge and made a piece that folded down and then covered all of this. And that when then folded over here and then joined on there, and joined on there. So they'd covered all of this up and got rid of it. And then that is where this hinge piece is missing. So I've got to reinstate that and then put the, put new tangs in it so it doesn't fall out. And obviously that's where the original upturned, tail of that is effectively. That's how that fit. So that's going to sort that out. But before I can do any of that, this has got to be replaced, and that one's got to be replaced. And you see this is all missing here, and you can see that's the one behind it. So all that's got to be done, and then the end of this sill's all got to be done, and these outer sills. And a fair amount of work will be involved in here, in this area. You can see this bit's missing. So this is the A-post, and that is like a finishing panel that then becomes the inside of the wing, of the top of the wing. And then there's a bit of what's left of the wing there. And I say that then joins along there and then becomes along here. So you remember I made that last week. Now that's not final fitted because I can't do that until I've sort of finalised some of this stuff. So that comes a bit later. But if we have a look in that other bit that I was doing. Do you remember I was on all this last week? So we made all that. Well, now that's all fitted. That's all welded in. So I've MIG plugged it all the way onto these reinforced areas, and then I've gas welded through here and a bit of MIG across there. So it's all in, done, finished. So that bit's done, and we've done all this already, haven't we? That was all done. So a bit more dressing out, a bit of cleaning up, that's all done. So that's looking good, isn't it? That's a major success. Quite pleased with that. So I reckon that's good. I reckon there's a lot more to do. And so I'll say goodbye. But before I go, I can't sign off without just saying something about David Lynch, who we lost this week, didn't we? Who was a remarkable director. You can find out lots about him. But my only thing about him, my only anecdote about David Lynch really, is not really a proper anecdote, but it was that it was seeing Wild at Heart at the cinema which is one of his more accessible films, admittedly. And I remember I asked a girl to come and watch it with me, and she bowed out and said no. Not because it was David Lynch, because it was me, I think, that was offering to take her to the cinema. Anyway, so I went on my own, and I remember seeing Wild at Heart and being, absolutely stunned by, the brilliance of it. I can't fully remember the shot, but I've got this recollection of this of this match being lit and it being really pulled up, close up on it. So seeing it sort of like 50 foot high on the big screen of this match going up and the flames, and it was remarkable. And that was when I first realised that you can't watch cinema, proper films, on the telly. You have to be at the cinema for them. I was already into cinema and into film, but this really turned me on to the idea that don't miss those good films. Make sure you see them on the big screen. And, you might get lucky and they might do a retrospective of his work. This is sometimes what happens. So there'll be plenty of opportunity to see his work on the big screen again. So there we are. And when you think about him and how wonderful he was. So with that, I'll say good night.